All right, everybody. Hey, listen, we jumping in straight in, no intro today. You know what I'm saying? You know who it is? It's Theo with OB and Theo with the Fisher Business Podcast. And guess what? We're gonna have us a little talk today. Try to have us a little fun, a little laugh, and just see how everybody's doing. It's Thursday. The weather's a little cold here. And hopefully where you're at, you're warm. If you're not, get somewhere where you can be. You know what I mean? And you know what? I want to jump right into it. I was talking with some friends of mine and people from Facebook, wanting to do some things together and just trying to process how are we going to move forward with what we're trying to do. And I realized something dealing with them, great people. I just have a difference of opinion that their attitude on trying to do things, and we're talking financially, what we're trying to do. And I realized, you know what? Their attitude is costing them more money than anything, not what's going on in the economy, not whether it's a load canceling rates. Some of these aren't truck drivers. None of that plays in a part until they look at their attitude. And it had me to the point I said, maybe I'm gonna talk about this. Just give it a little time Thursday. Just talk about it. That attitude reflect your money, right? How does that work out when we're trying to move forward in our lives on a financial concept? Okay, my behavior, does attitude reflects behavior? You know, those are some of the things that I noticed with these people, and I just say, I want to talk about this. Maybe get people in the comment, give me their opinion, what they think about when it comes to attitude and money, right? And part of the conversation was it was basically, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And it became to the point where I said, well, hold up. If you're trying to move forward in your career and you're telling me everything you want to do, but I can tell you everything everybody else is doing and will do. And it became a battle of attitudes. And I kind of stepped back and calmed down. I said, well, let me think about this thing. Now, hold up now. I'm not going to just go hard in the paint because I don't agree with somebody. I don't work that way. But I really looked at the big picture and I started thinking and I hung up and I said, what, I'm going to call one guy individually and just discuss some things with him. W-2 driver, um, said he's not making any money. Depends on what you call money, right? That's just my opinion. But at the same time, when I said, well, how about trying this? What about going this route, this route? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And I said, yo, man, you just got a bad attitude. Your attitude is what's costing you. Everybody I know that's working in this industry and outside of the industry, their attitude is, I have to make money. I have to participate. So I have to be prepared at all times, i.e., whether it's getting hazmat, it's getting doubles, it's getting tankers, passengers endorsement if you want to drive a city bus, all these things that I looked at. And at the same time, I get back the attitude, what I won't do, what I ain't gonna do, not what I can't do or what I will do. It's like I'm staying right here. My attitude says this is where I'm at in my career, i.e., whether it's trucking, hospitality, doesn't matter, right? That was the attitude. But the flip side of that attitude was, I want more money. So now it made me think, is your attitude costing you money? Is your attitude making you make money, right? And some of the guys I know that are making money in this industry are consistently, their attitude is about trying to keep themselves moving forward financially. So, i.e., is that's getting more training, looking at a part of the industry that can upgrade their pay, along with time and scheduling, right? So I'm dealing with more people on that level. But at the same time, I'm dealing with people who are just hell bent, if I can use that word, hell bent on stating, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do that, right? We all know the hottest thing that's been on social media, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, is the big T. Everybody's been talking about the big T, and it ain't Theo. Everybody been talking about tankers, right? And the outlook on, should I do tankers? Well, I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what I do, and it works for me. There's no doubt about it. Some things don't work for everybody, but to just come out the gate, I ain't doing that. But I'm complaining about the area and the arena that I'm in. Well, you're not trying to get out of that area because your attitude is holding you up. Like I said, the ones who are successful at what they're doing, they're not complaining. I'll say it that way. Uh, Financially, they're content. Guess what? They don't have that attitude. And when I say attitude, I want you guys to understand. I'm not speaking from gender of an attitude, different genders or different ethnic groups. That's not what I'm preaching on. I'm speaking on the fact of the attitude of what I won't do to try to better myself, but yet you're complaining about being stuck in one area and you can't see your way out. But yet your attitude is, I'm not going to change. Well, if you're not going to change, how do you expect everybody else to change? Right now, I'm moving my hands. So if you're watching, you can see me move my hands when I talk. You have to be the one to make the change. That whole attitude assessment and how we look at things, and I get it. You're used to doing one thing over and over and over. It's repetitive. But guess what? From what they're telling me, I can't speak personally, but just what they're telling me, it's not working and not willing to change anything. You have to start with that attitude. I always say attitude reflects behavior. Uh, so that's where I wanted to come in today. Just give a little bit of that. Shout out to DB, Owen, you guys are stopping by. Just let everybody know. I don't think OB's going to be joining us today. He said he might try to. Hopefully he will. Because we're going to run about 45 minutes today because I've got some personal things to do. So we're not going to be too long. If OB can come in, it'd be great. If you guys been following some of the YouTube shorts, you're seeing where he's moving into the new shop. So he's kind of focusing on that. He's got one video, it's two of them where he shows his deliveries. Of course, he had bring stuff in. And as you saw, the Sire Motor Freight truck was there. And shout out to Sire Motor Freight. We appreciate them for what they did coming in. They delivered a couple of packages also for D&L Design. So, shout out to that. And that's the classic example of what I talk about when I say attitude, right? The attitude was, I'm going to make it happen at any means, no matter what the cost, we're going to make it happen. And that is classic. I should have uploaded the video. I'm running late, so I couldn't do but so much. Shout out to Black Heavyweight just coming in the building. So, but that's what I want to talk about, right? That attitude, driving attitude to success. And just because DB, Dirty Brokers in the building, he shared a book with me, and it talks about how the rich people, how they learn to monetize their thoughts, right? They take their thoughts and they make money with it. Well, that is an attitude that we all should strive for. You can't just do what the next man's doing. I'm not saying that, right? If he made money selling socks, that don't mean you're going to make money selling socks. But there's an attitude that he took in consideration of, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it and I'm going to move forward. There's steps into it, i.e. I have to find distributors to sell the product. I have to find where I want it in the store. If it's going to be strictly on Amazon, it's strictly going to be eBay. That attitude, making money, is what they did, right? But in trucking, it seems like we're stepping back and we're letting the attitude block everything. Some say don't let nobody block your blessings, right? In reality, look what's going on. If your attitude is, I won't do this, I'm not going to do that, well, you're blocking everything on your own. That's on you. We got to have personal accountability. We got to want to move the needle a little bit with our behavior practices, and attitude reflects behavior. So we have to change everything, because don't get it twisted. I want everybody to make all the money you can make. And when you make it, take me along with you, because I want a little money too. I'm not shy to hold my hand out with my hat in the other hand and say, can I get some too? Oh, Theo has no pride in his body when it comes to a handout. Somebody giving me some money. Hey, Theo with you all day, every day. But we got to get these attitudes right. We see guys on social media sites, and we're on YouTube. I'm going to say YouTube. We see some of our fellow YouTube truckers. They're doing very fine in this market. Why? Because their attitude is, I'm going to get mine. I want to make this money. That's a good attitude to have. Now, I'm not going to do this. Every reason under the sun, they come up with why they can't do something instead of putting motion to try to do something. right? And just me having those conversations, I seen the circle that we was in and how things were revolving. And what I was noticing was the ones that had the worst attitudes, they was bouncing off each other like ping pong, just literally pop, 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 pop. They're bouncing off each other the whole time. And I'm just like, well, this is not making any sense here, and I have very little patience. The older I get, my patience go quick. But I'm watching people with the worst attitude on how to move forward, and they're just bouncing it off of each other, like they're out having dinner. It's almost like they sit there and talk to themselves in that truck all day and they believe what they're actually hearing because nobody's talking back. So they bring that style of attitude and thought process into the conversation, which I thought was hilarious at first. But then I started getting more and more upset, right? Like, come on, man, we got to do better than this. Now, this is just, this is too much. We don't need all this stuff coming in like this. Hey, we got 16 in the room. I need 16 to hit that like button if you don't mind. It don't cost you nothing to hit the button. If you don't mind, hit the button for my brother. So just with all that, and I just kept saying, man, we got to change these attitudes at the end of the day. Because in this industry, there is still a lot of financial gains that can be made if you're willing to change that attitude. As long as I've been in this industry, my attitude was very simple. I mean, very simple. Whatever I got to do, I'm going to do it. From a former truck owner, whatever trailer I can hook up to that fifth wheel. If it was my trailer, I did it. If it was a drop deck, I did it. If it was a set of doubles, I did it. If it was a set of reefers, I did it. I even pulled tankers a couple of times. Lift gate, it didn't matter. My attitude was I have to keep this money rolling. So in order for me to keep it rolling, I can't say what I'm not going to do. How does that benefit me if my notion is I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that? And I'm listening to people tell me this who has nothing to bring other than a CDL, no endorsements, no experience dealing with other product, hauling different stuff, just straight. And that's all they've been doing. And I'm not knocking that. But to sit here and try to press the notion that something has to change when you're not willing to change, I think that is a huge, huge issue that I see. And, I see things different. The notion is we often don't see the goodness in ourselves. Other people see the goodness in what we bring to the table. And I would say that about anybody, whether you're on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, it don't matter. We often don't see the greatness within ourselves, but other people see it. And when we try to convince them that their greatness is there, they often push us away with their attitude, right? Because they're not willing to change. And that attitude, man, it's rough. I mean, if you're trying to move forward and you're going to have this attitude that I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, good luck in this industry. It's changing very fast. And I mean, it's changing fast. You're either going to adapt to it or you're going to get pushed to the side. You're going to be in that position where the only jobs you can get are what jobs that are people coming straight out of school, and they're going to take your jobs. You know why? The longer you've been in this industry, you're less likely to get hired nowadays with certain companies because you know why? If you're already trained, they know there's certain things you're not going to want to deal with up front. And it's easier to bring somebody in and train them from the ground up. And guess what? They get to do the way the company want them to do, right? If a company's got to hire me, and I've got a great attitude, when I went to the company I'm at now, I walked in the door. Here's where my attitude, I'll tell you how it works. I walked right in the door. I said, listen, I understand this is a night position. I understand I would not have weekends off for at least a year or two. I understand that. I understand there is a no cell phone policy. That's I'm in a rental truck. There's no camera. I understand all that. I told them that coming in the door. I understood all that. I didn't come in the door and ask them, hey, do I need hazmat to haul hazard material? I didn't do that. I knew that's what I needed to do. I knew coming in the door that I'm going to have to work nights. You know why? The position said nights. right? Let's change our attitude. We read something, and then we call the company and say, well, you got any day open? No, it says nights. What, you can't read? What's going on here, right? I understood. I'm going into an arena where it's no longer my truck. I know that there's rules that I have to follow to make the money I want to make. See, my attitude was to get in the door. My attitude was to get a check. My attitude was when I read those benefits, I said, you know what? Screw my attitude. I'm coming in on bending knee, literally, you know. And it's been a long time since I dressed up to do an interview because most people don't do that. Everything's done online. And by the time they say you get the job, guess what? You get flown somewhere or you drive, go to a hotel, pick your poise, right? I didn't do that. I changed my attitude to show them that, hey, I want this. And not only are you giving me something, I'm giving you something. I'm giving you years of experience. I'm giving you time behind the steering wheel with a tanker on my back. Now, it wasn't that kind of tanker. I won't lie about that. But I had experience with tankers, i.e., UN 1203 for a short time in the waste war, right? So I had already done that. So I had experience. But my attitude was, you know what? I want to learn a little more. I didn't go in there trying to tell these people what they should do and what they shouldn't do. No, I came in with the ability. Guess what? I left my attitude at the door. Literally, I left it at the door. And I gave them everything they wanted to get what I wanted. And guess what? We have a beautiful partnership. Very beautiful. It's a long time with driving trucks that I can say, you know what, this is not that bad. It's really not. You know? So that's what I'm trying to convey to people. You know, let's change our attitude. Let's move forward with what we're trying to do in this industry and personally, right? If you're struggling in this industry financially, you're struggling behind the scenes of this industry financially. And we definitely don't need that. It's going to equal up to stress, more and more bad behavior problems. It's going to equal up to more and more attitude, right? And I just figured it all out with talking with everybody. You know, like I said, this was a meeting, a phone call of 7 people, with me 8. And the notion was we're trying to get something started. And I think when I think about it, I'm spreading myself a little too thin, to be honest, with things I'm trying to do with the nonprofit, things I'm trying to do in Texas. I'm still here in Connecticut. So I think I'm overstepping my own boundaries at this point. I'm messing around have a stroke because I'm just stretched thin. But my attitude was, let's get it done. Let's do it. Not so much for the money, but let's just do it. Because guess what? Every time you set a goal and you start achieving that goal, you feel better and better, and you're more and more comfortable. Somewhat, I don't want to say take risks, but you're more and more comfortable to make decisions that are better off for you socially, financially, mental, physically. Pick whichever you want, whatever the leads you want to pick. You start to gain, and that's what we try to look at in everything. And but we've got to ask ourselves, what are we doing? You know, what are we doing to the point where we just sit there and say, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. What I always say, whenever you say you won't do something with a company, go buy your own truck. You can't expect the company to change for you. I mean, I never understand that in this era, um, how we get to this point where people feel the company needs to change for them, you know, instead of them actually changing to maneuver within the company. That's something I'm trying to cope with at I'll be 51 in a couple of days. So at 51, trying to understand the basis of that. You know, where did it come a time? At least I know in my time, and present. You know, I didn't walk in the door with an attitude. I'm gonna change the company. I walked in the door with trying to get a check. So the attitude is I'm gonna change the company. Well, you ain't got the first check. You know, um, it's one of those. Damn, it got me to the point I can't talk. Right? It's one of those where I sit back and I look and I say, okay, you're applying for this position, and your attitude is, this is what you ain't gonna do. Why are you applying for this position? What sense does it make? I've talked to several people um, with trying to get them into my line of work, and they gave me every reason why they wouldn't do it, right? And it was more so because they wanted all the control of every aspect of it. And my notion was, you don't have control now. So how are you going to go somewhere else and have all this control, right? The attitude of, well, look, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, I ain't working no weekends. Well, but this ain't the job for you. What you asked me about it for? You already set in stone. Your attitude is you're not going to work weekends. Now, if you have a family, kids at home, I respect that. I get it. But when you don't have any of that, you have to have everything catered to you specifically. It has to be everything that you want. Well, what about what the company wants? But now you're looking outside, looking in, and you can't find anything you want. You know why? No matter what comes, you're not going to be happy because your attitude has already been put in play. I don't care. I'm not doing this. Uh, it's just like, what are we doing here? I keep asking the question over and over. What are we doing? Right? Because I will stand on my 10 toes that I got and tell you attitude reflects behavior, behavior practice reflects attitude. And I've seen this, right? And talking with a close friend that lives here, and he says, "Hey, man, I don't care. You can talk about it online. I don't care. You know, I have much respect and love for this brother, great family he has." And we was getting into the finances of what he want to do, right? And he's so stretched, so thin. I mean, literally stretched thin. And when I asked him in December, you know, hey man, what's going on? You know, you ain't been the same. What's the deal? And he's telling me, he says, well, man, my wife went and bought a car. I said, okay, but your wife bought a car. What's the big deal? You know, well, your wife buys a car. This car note's $1,150 a month. Is what she bought this car for. Now he's stressed because they've got $1,150 car note, which I don't know how she was able to. The bank would even give it to her. She's barely making $40,000. Great woman, but she's not making that kind of money to afford an $1,150 a month car note. And now he's scrambling because he has something going on outside of the house where he's trying to build because he has a great attitude with trying to build and do for his family. But yet you have someone on the other side who's saying, I'm not worried about that. This is the car I want. And it's a nice car, I ain't gonna lie. But ain't no car worth $1,150 a month. No car. That's somebody's rent, somebody's mortgage, whether it's a townhome or a small 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and depending on what state you're in anyway. So that's what you're paying. And this is a car. And like I said, her attitude was, I don't, you know what? We'll work it out. How are you gonna work it out? You're not. It's too hard to work it out. What if he loses his job? Then what? You know, how are you going to be able to pay that, right? But her attitude was, I'm going to get what I want. I get it. But you got to get what you want when you're ready for it. You ain't ready for that. No, I say anybody can buy a car, but make them payments after 6 months. And you're talking $1,150 a month. That's a lot of money. Insurance, so that it's probably about $250 to 14. I say around about $14 a month with insurance. You know, insurance is very high in the state of Connecticut. So it goes back to that attitude thing. You know, does attitude make you money? That attitude costs money. I'm not lying. You know, when I'm talking to the gentleman on the phone and I'm listening to their attitudes was costing them money. That's what the attitudes was doing. It was just costing them more and more money because guess what? I'm not willing to do this. Well, don't complain about your setting. You know, I've had that conversation with several people in the last couple of weeks. Stop complaining about your setting. You're not making money. Your company don't have lows. Well, guess what? Are you willing to go to a different area and run? Nope. I ain't doing that. Okay, no problem. Are you willing to upgrade your license? The basics. Get an extra endorsement. Man, I ain't got time for that. It don't pay me no more money to go get TX added to my endorsement. Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, you know, I just said, okay, well, I guess it doesn't, right? If he said it didn't, that was his attitude. I guess it doesn't. But guess what? It does pay more money. It does benefit you to be more valuable to a company. And especially in the time we're in right now, because whether we want to admit it or not, Josephine Baker said it best: the times are changing. This industry is changing. You have to change that attitude with an industry that's constantly changing. If you're not going to do that, guess what? You're going to be pushed to the back of the industry. Your value is going to be very minuscule. And guess what? Your checks are going to be very minuscule. They're going to get smaller and smaller because you're not bringing nothing to the table. And this is speaking to my W-2 drivers. You know, that's what I'm speaking to. I'm not speaking to owner operators and lease operators. They're totally two different brackets. They have more flexibility that they can do things with. So this is not generated at all to them. Just to my W-2 people, whether you're trucking, whether you're actually doing something out of trucking, doesn't matter. Could be warehousing, doesn't matter, right? But if we want more, we're going to have to change the attitude because everything around us is changing. And those may say, "Oh, that don't make sense." It does make sense. When you can go on your phone, and I'm going to use this DAC board as an example. When you can go on your phone and book your load, you can go on your phone and post your truck, and hopefully, you get a call, right? You have that technology, so it moved forward. When I first started, guess what? You got your loads to the DAC load board. You went to the truck stop, and there was a TV screen up there, and the loads would be going in circles, right? You can hit the button, stop it, and write all the information down, the broker number, where it's picking up, where it's going, this, that, and the third. And then you hit the button again. Next guy standing there, and he's like, "Man, I'm waiting on the flatbed load." So he pushed the yellow button, all the flatbed loads start coming in a circle, right? So that's the way it was. So we had to change with that technology. But the average guy who was owning a truck back then in the 90s had to come up and change his attitude to survive in the 2000s. And now we're in 2024. And if these same gentlemen, they changed their attitude because they had to do different things in order to be productive, different things in order to keep the money going. Like I said, attitude, changing the attitude to see the bigger picture. But I get it. A lot of people don't want to do it. But I will say this: if you're not going to change that attitude, hey, I don't know what to tell you. It's not going to work out to your favor. It's just not. So let me give a couple people shout out came in the room. Grind and pray, KB. I haven't seen KB in a while. How are you, brother? Ghost Town Bullies. I'm waiting for you to come to Connecticut. So whenever you get a chance to come up, brother, always let me know. Maybe we can go hang out somewhere, go get something to eat if you want. I know you have the girls here. Love to meet them. And I still have that panda hat if you want that. Just Jaquan, Anthony, haven't seen you. DNL, for everybody's coming in. Appreciate it. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. It don't cost you nothing. It's not going to hurt your finger. None of that. It'll even change your attitude if you hit it. I guarantee you. So just hit it. Just tease with that thing, right? So, but getting back to the whole attitude thing, right? And I sit there and I spoke with these people, man, and trying to get them to really understand what they need to do, in my opinion, right? And I would say this. Reason why I say in my opinion, because my attitude is very open when it comes to making money and furthering what I'm trying to do. And it hasn't failed me yet. I've never worked for a company where I've set and I'm not making any money. Never. When I lived in Atlanta and I worked for a company that was regional, what they call regional OTR, the first thing I would say, hey, send me to the Northeast. You know why? Nobody wants to go there. At that time, back then, people wanted to go Texas or Florida if you was living in Atlanta, especially working for that particular company. So that's what they wanted to do. Kurt was running curtainside trailers. I said, no, send me up north. Send me to Buffalo. Send me into the barrels. I have no problem. And guess what? I ate very well during my time of working there because I ran the areas where nobody wanted to run because my attitude was, I'm here to make money. I ain't here to be friends and lovers. That was my attitude. And it's the same attitude I've had Every company I've worked for, and I've had several companies, even to this day, I'm not here to be friends and lovers. I'm here to make this money. What do you need me to do? That I signed up to make this money. And that's all I want to do. Make my little pennies, go home, have a peace of mind, drink a little cognac every now and then, you know, to those cognac drinkers that are out there, if you love good cognac like I do, you know what I'm talking about. But to those who don't, hey, I respect that too, right? It's what it is. But at the same time, we still got to ask ourselves, is our attitude causing us to make money, or is our attitude not causing us to make money? Because this whole thing, I'm not willing to do certain things, right? I hear it all the time, and I love when people start talking about fuel hauling, getting in the tankers and hauling fuel. You've seen that so much on YouTube, and the majority of people, the first thing they say is, "I don't want to ride around in no bomb." I have seen trucks explode pulling dry van. I've seen trucks explode pulling reefer, refrigerated, explode, dump buckets, explode. But you don't want to ride around in the bomb. You already ride around in the bomb. I think with anything, safety, safety, safety. If you are a safety conscious CDL commercial holder, you're not worried about what you're going to do behind the wheel. It's everybody else that you got to be worried about. And that should go over all aspects of this industry. It's just not one set in stone of whether if I run 1993 or a UN 1203, a UN 1997, that's irrelevant. You still have to be safe. You can't control what other people are doing, but your attitude is you can control what you're doing, and that's it. But at the end of the day, they give you every reason why they can't do something, not a reason why they can. Understand this, and this is what I can word the word I want to use. This is what's so upsetting with me with that, right? We're in an industry, and we're talking trucking. We're in an industry where trucking is broken down in over 10 different sections. When you look at the versatility of the kind of work and the trails that you can haul, and not be willing to do at least 7 of the 10, to me, that is an attitude issue, right? I will tell you straight up, I ain't doing flatbed. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm not doing it. I've done curtain side, but I'm not doing flatbed. Now, will that hinder me from getting a job? No, because my attitude is I'm still willing to do 9 out of the other 10. If I had to do RGN, I would do it. I just don't want to do flatbed. I don't want to do no coils and all that stuff. That's my hang up. But my hang up on one thing is not going to stop me from producing revenue to the point of where I like to see. Everybody else's, not all, but some, their hang up is going to get them because they're only willing to do 1 of the 10. That's it. They only want to do 1 of the 10. And you got to ask yourself, if you're only willing to do 1 of the 10, how versatile are you? Because that means you're in a singular sector, just you. And there's a million other people in that one singular section, and they're fighting everybody for this little bit of piece of the pie. I say, hey, change the attitude and go for the whole piece of the pie. At least swim around in it if you can, So that's how I look at it, man. And I always say, we always want to look forward. It's 2024. We gonna win in 2024, baby. Everybody I know, I tell them all the time, we winning in 2024, i.e. whether it be the employment that you want, i.e. whether it be investments that you want to do, personal relationship, we winning in 2024. So if you want to get your health right, get your health right in 2024. Just remember the attitude is we winning. We gonna win. See, when we adapt that attitude, life becomes a whole lot easier. We can achieve what we're trying to do. But if we sit back and say, I can't do, I won't do, well, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get, I can't and I won't. That's it. And even when it comes into personal life, understand this. And I know the younger guys can't really relate And I was a younger guy, believe it or not, y'all. I was young at one point. I get what you're saying, but I was young and I did have that young guy's attitude. I understand that. So when I talk to guys who are younger, I would tell them straight up, hey, man, I've been there, but I can tell you now, it's not going to work out the way you want it to. You got to step back, change the attitude, change the perception, change what you're trying to do, because what you're trying to achieve is not going to happen the route you're going. And I'm not telling them because I don't want to see people achieve. That's a lie. I want everybody to win, straight up and down, no chaser. I want everybody to win, but I want everybody to understand. Like I said, this is for the guys, maybe a little more my age. We things differently. Y'all got excuse, apologize. My internet is kind of acting up, so I'm flipping around on the screen. If I have to log out, come back, I might. But we see things a little different with attitude, right? Our attitude for us, Bink TV, Dirty Broke, myself, Mr. T Hill, our attitude is we want to have a good attitude so we can build for our retirement. That's our attitude. What's up to the stage? Okay, I'm back. I dropped out for a minute. Generally, OB has the internet problem. Now I'm having an internet problem. So I mean, talk to my neighbor. Maybe they didn't pay the bill. That's why my internet's messing up. So we'll talk about that another day. But I just want to say, we structure our attitude to where we're winning, or at least we're attempting to win. We structure our attitude that we put our attitudes aside and we're trying to learn and gain. That's all I want people to do. Back that attitude up a little bit. Leave it at the door. Leave it on the floor while you're on the phone. And let's try to move forward and gain a little bit and listen. And we got to stop saying what we won't do, what we ain't going to do. Puffy said it best, can't stop, won't stop. Let's adapt that. That's his saying, so I can't say it too much. I don't want to get sued for copyright, but let's be honest. We got to have a different attitude if we're going to move forward for 2024. We can't do what we did in 2023 and expect it to work in 2024. Because guess what? If it didn't work in 2023, it's not going to work in 2024. And if it did work in 2023, guess what? You're going to take 2024 by the horns like a Texan, and you're going to slam that bull to the ground. Guess what? You're going to make it work even more. You see the difference? But I just need my people to understand. And this is when I say my people, the trucking community. This isn't a gender or race thing. I need everybody to understand. We gotta stop it with the attitudes of what we won't do. Because the reality is you can do whatever you want. There is no doubt about it. You can do it, but you got to have the attitude to do it. And I get it. Some people don't want to take risks. I'm with you on that. I'm not a big risk taker. At this point in my life, I'm not anyway. When I was younger, I did a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't have did. And I'm glad I'm still here on this side of the dirt because I could have been on the other side when I think about some of the stuff I did. But that was attitude also, bad attitude. I will say that without a shadow of a doubt. But just want everybody to understand, hey, man, we got to win. It's 2024. We got to change our attitude. We got to be able to compete in the open market because guess what? I always say this, the job that you won't take, somebody else will. And if you're at a company right now and you're running the road, whether you're local, regional, it doesn't matter. If it's not working out, get yourself prepared. So when you do leave, you're bringing value to the next company. You just a van driver, you leave and go to another company because they got vans and newer trucks, you ain't bringing no value. At least update your endorsements. So when you go to the next van company, you can make it do what it do. Very simple. I'll give you a classic example. That short time when I had that guy driving for me, and Lord knows he was, oh man, this guy was something else, man. I swear to God. It wasn't a maintenance issue, but man, he was hitting stuff left and right. And just the notion of telling him, hey, man, you need to get your tankers. You know, need you to get your tankers. You know what I mean? There's no need of sending you out to Chicago and we can't bring back the non-chemical hazmat load that comes to back and forth to Connecticut 2 days a week. It doesn't make sense. We're losing money. I don't want to get him. I said, shoot, man, he ain't gonna be here long then because you costing me money. You see, that's how we got to think. That was his attitude. He felt he didn't need it, and okay, I was cool with that. But a couple of weeks later, I just gave him his last check and said, hey, it is what it is. And that wasn't because of that attitude. I think it would have been, but it was more because of constantly having minor fender benders, right? And I'm thinking to myself, if this guy has the attitude of not paying attention what he's doing over and over, when does it become a point where he takes somebody's life? So that was the reason for breaking the tie. But just the point of his attitude of, I'm not going to just do the basics. You got to do something. We can't work like that. Because I'm looking at, I'm losing money, right? I'm giving this guy a percentage, which is very minimal. And then I got to pay you, but you don't want to upgrade the license so you can get more money. No, I'm going to do what I want to do. See, it's that attitude. If it's your truck, your trailer, you're not a company person, you can have that attitude. I ain't starting. I'm not saying it's going to be beneficial to you, but you can have that attitude. But if you're just sitting there playing the dozens, as we like to say, right? And you're working for somebody and you're saying, I'm not making no money. They're not running me. Why are you there? Have you sit back and understood why are you there? And I don't think people are willing to basically be accountable for their own attitude. Now, if your attitude is, oh, this company, they doing this and they got me sitting. Okay, well, ask yourself, why are you still there? Make a move. Get your attitude right. Decide, hey, I'm going to step my game up. That's what you do. Whether you want to or not, that's what you got to do. And I will say it all the time, man. When I'm talking about these things, I'm talking about it from a perspective that I've been there. So you can't say, oh, Theo he just brought. No, Theo's been there. Theo ain't always had this attitude I got, and I've always had this good looking face. I ain't gonna stunt. That's been there since I came out the womb. But I've had a bad attitude at one point, but it didn't take long. When I realized back in the late 90s that, you know what, I got to upgrade myself because, man, I ain't making no money like this. This is crazy. I was a one-trick pony. That's all I can do. One trick. Run a van. Run a reefer. That's it. That's all I can do. Well, we fixed that problem in 99 when my daughter was born. We fixed that problem. We said, no, we're going to have to be a lot more versatile. But now we got more responsibility, more money coming out of the house. I need to be able to make more money. So guess what? I did what I had to do. Jamie Foxx said the best we will make it do what it do. That's what I did. So my perception has always been at this point, as James Brown used to say, and I know y'all like, man, this guy's old. He's going back to James Brown. That's right. Just open the door. I can get it myself. I don't need you to give me that, but open the door. I can get it. But you know why? Because I have the attitude to bring something to the table. That's the difference, y'all. That is the key difference. And I just want to thank everybody that came in. Mr. Rob Wallace, first time seeing you, brother. I'm glad you hear you. I wish you would have came in a little bit longer, but you know what? We're going to be going live again. We may do a Saturday morning show, me and OB. OB may pop up Saturday and do a quick 30, 45 minute to an hour live. Just let everybody know what's going on with him because I know you guys haven't seen him other than the short YouTube videos. And like I said, man, hit that like button. It don't cost you nothing. Hit it. Don't hit it too hard. Ain't break the phone or your thumb, but just hit it. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I asked of everybody. And you know what? We're about to wind it down because, like I said, I've got a couple of things I've got to take care of here today, before the day's in anyway. So I'm going to do that. But I just wanted to come by, man, talk to everybody, basically just, tell you how I'm feeling about some things, right? What I've been hearing and what I've been seeing. And, it's no knock to those brothers. Because same thing I told y'all, I told them, you're going to have to change your attitude, man. You all over the map. This is crazy. I don't, you just running to be running. out there on the road, just running with no guidance, just running, you know, running, company to company. That's all you're doing. No guidance, nothing's fitting in. And then you say, well, the company ain't working me. Well, you're not willing to go outside your own comfort zone. So why would the company work you? So to all those that came in, I want to say thanks everybody giving me a little bit of your time. Hopefully it be helpful. If it's not, let me know in the comment. If it was, let me know. I can take very tough criticism. I mean, you got to remember, I've got old skin, leather, Italian leather, and you can't rip that up for nobody. So at the end of the day, I'm going to end the live. And I just want to say thank you, everybody that showed up. Fisher Business Podcast. Always stay prayed up, like, follow, subscribe, and we'll be back later. And hopefully OB will be back with us. But if he ain't here, I'm gonna be here. We still gonna be rocking, jocking, baby. Other than that, everybody have a good one, and we will see y'all again later.